All right, good afternoon. Really good opponent for us to start our season off against. Really good players. Coach Tom did a really good job of bringing in good quality veterans on his team. Really good coach. Has done a lot of winning in this league. So this will be a good challenge for us. And our guys are looking forward to the challenge, as long as our coaches are too. So when it comes to any injuries, most of the guys will be out there practicing today. Anything that comes up, I'll let you guys know tomorrow for the most part. But again, like I said before, this is a good quality opponent, for us to start kick off our 2025 season. And this is no better opponent to go against. So any questions?
Are Tyrod and Simpson among those practices?
Most of our guys will be practicing today for the most part.
What kind of challenge does Aaron Rodgers present?
Man, that's really nothing to talk about because of who he is. So he challenges in all ways, as far as him as a thrower, getting the guys in and out the huddle, being able to see the defense and being able to put the guys in the right position. So, listen, guy, he's a future Hall of Famer. We all know that. So he's going to cause problems no matter what.
When you looked at film, I'm sure probably before you got here, you looked when you were deciding whether to keep him or not. What did you see on film about what he has left at his age?
That's been gone. So I'm not going to answer questions about guys that's not here and what I saw. Right now, I'm looking at what our guys can do. So
scouting him now,
just like I said, I'm not going to sit there and answer questions on what I saw back then that's not relevant to right now.
Do you think there's any advantage to the fact that Quincy Williams, Jamie Sherwood, Sauce Gardner practiced against him all last summer? Even the cadence thing, right? You know what?
I do. But, man, this guy's a vet. He's seen it all. He's won against a number of guys. But I do think there is some value, to our guys of being able to be a part of that. And here's what I do know also. I know that those guys had a really good relationship, and he's talked to them just about football in general. And our guys, they really took that in. And they've grown from all those things. So there's value to making sure that you're on a team with a player like that. And I know he helped those guys a lot.
When you evaluate a player like Aaron who's getting older, how do you and what do you look at when you're putting together a game plan? You said that, because when guys get older, they lose a little bit. Naturally,
yeah.
That's everyone. So I imagine you can't go back to when your Lions defenses were going against the Packers because he's a different player now than then. Last year could be different last year compared to this year. How do you piece together who Aaron is in 2025?
Listen, I've had the opportunity to go against that player, man, shoots a number of times. And listen, he's always been someone that really understands what the coordinator's thinking. You could tell he does a lot of film study. So mentally, that never goes away. Physically, we all start to wane at some point, as we get older. But I know at that position, when mentally you're on point, man, he makes it a challenge. So on tape, you're going to continue to see that. When he was here, you see that. But the thing that we have to do a really good job of is making sure we give different looks and make sure we try to make it as hard as we can on him because he's seen it all.
You've had a whole summer and off-season stuff with Fields.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, any things you've learned from him or about him in the time that you've now gotten together with him and coached him? Yeah,
all through training camp, just understand exactly who he is and what he likes when it comes to the passing game, when it comes to the running game. Where does he want receivers to be in certain spots on the field to make sure that connection is on point? And here's the thing. We're also going to continue to learn as the season progresses. These guys have had a number of practices out there in training camp. But once you get in games, things start to change a little bit. And to me, it's always been – I've learned this from Bill Cowher years ago, that sometimes you really don't know what your team is until you get 4 or 5 games down the road. So, listen, we're all maturing in that aspect of really understanding, really true game action, man. Who are we going to be as a football team? And I'm paying close attention to that.
How difficult it is? Everybody has preconceived notions of a player.
Yeah.
When he comes here, he has a reputation of being good at this or not good at that.
Yeah.
as a coach, do you have a clean slate when he comes in?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because we just talked about it before. I mean, guys change. People change. You know, who they are year to year. They grow. They get better. You know, so I think it's when you go in with an open mind and say, let me see how this thing plays out. Like, how is this guy going to operate in practice? How does he operate in the preseason? And then let that be your determining factor of who this guy is and how he's going to operate. And I've always been that way of, listen, you earn your keep with everything, in my opinion. And what I see on tape, what I see on the field, that's what I make my decisions off of.
Barry Ball is one of those players, one of your captains. I just
Yep.
curious to know, just what are you seeing for him, like throughout the course of the summer and now into the season, and his growth.
He's a guy that grew tremendously from OTAs to now. Early on, he wasn't a guy that was very vocal for the most part, and he just continued to grow in that aspect of knowing exactly who he was when it came to how he fits with us on defense and then how he fits on special teams. And he takes that role to heart. He really does. And that's one thing I talk to the players about early on in camp, that every role is important to this team. And it doesn't matter if you're a gunner, if you're a quarterback, if you're a guard. Everybody has a specific role, and your role is important to how we operate. And he has taken his role to heart. He knows exactly who he is. And I'm excited about that player and how he's going to go forward with us.
Aaron, what do you remember about your first game as a player? It was home against Buffalo.
Yeah, it was.
And how do you think your emotions on Sunday might be the same or different than your first game as a player?
You know what? That's really hard to tell until I get up, that Sunday and really see how I'm going to feel. I just knew back then I was matched up against Andre Reed, so that's a tell in itself, of going against a player like that. And plus Buffalo in general, just the way that team was built. I mean, that was an outstanding team personnel-wise, and then understanding exactly how they operate. So I was nervous. I know I was. And I'm sure I'll be nervous for this one. And that's just who I am. I always have that within my body. I can feel it. But at some point, man, it goes away really, really quick. And I get dialed into what I have to do as a coach, I know, and I did as a player.
There's a good chance Armand's going to have to go against TJ Watt a bit on Sunday. What
Yeah.
kind of challenges does he present, and how do you feel about where Armand's at?
Man, another guy that's at the top of his game. He's one of the elite pass rushers in this league. And I don't want to just sit there and talk about his pass rush, because you watch him against the run. He does some pretty outstanding things too. So listen, Membo knows he has a tough job ahead of him, and we all know that. So we have to do everything we can to help him. And this week's practice is going to be vital for him to make sure he's on point. So there's no secret. He's going to go against Watt. So he's going to go out there and do the best he can.
What to you would define a successful season?
What would define a successful season? I want to be a team to where the fans will look up and say, we're proud of that team. And if they say that, I'll be happy. I'll be happy, because within that, I know that wins will come.
Aaron, when you were with Detroit and then were playing the Jets, you said you wanted to kick their butt. I'm
Yeah.
curious, what do you tell Justin going against his former team, everything that he went through with Pittsburgh last season?
Well, the thing about that is anybody that we play, I want to kick their butt. It just happened to be that game, so I'm sure he feels the same way. It doesn't matter who you play. You want to kick somebody's butt anytime you go out on the grass. So it doesn't matter if you play in Arizona, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. It doesn't matter. You want to beat the hell out of anybody you go against.
You sort of talked about your objectives through the process of when the spring program started,
Yep.
OTAs, training camp. I'm wondering now, how does it change in terms of that goal is out there, right? Not what the main goal is, but
Yep.
kind of keeping it centered on what you're doing today. How does it change in the regular season, or what's kind of your message, big picture wise?
Well, I have a pretty good understanding exactly where we are as a team, and the things that we were trying to create going through training camp. I think we're very, very close, and I'm gonna continue to assess that. As I go through the season, are we there yet? No, we're not, and we're not going to be perfect at all. But those are things that I will never stop looking at, because I want to make sure we reach that plateau of being the team that we try to create through training camp, and those guys are fighting their asses off to get there. I do know that. They know exactly what it is, and we're going to continue to strive for that.
Thanks, everybody.